An American billionaire is being exposed right now as we are talking, particularly for certain things that were involved around him, particularly either bisexual temple. They found something that they are deeming that it was a temple where he might have been doing some of his rituals, and this temple now coming into light is causing all kinds of panics. But this is not the first time this particular temple has been spoken about on the internet. It's just that right now it has gained this tone, because if you actually look back into the pictures that are of it right now, you'll notice that these pictures show it being blank and no longer in its former images. Now, I wanted us to talk about that, and I think, hey, you know what, let's give it a little bit of time. Hey, today we have the assistant here, leadership, just come in a little bit. Don't take off the headphones so that they don't have echo. So he's monitoring the sound. You can see him there. Thumbs up, thumbs up. It's all Gucci. So I did mention him in the video on the last one in December. And so, yeah, today he's here. We have a video that we want to go and shoot, and also moving stuff. It makes it easier when he's here. All right. So on this episode, I want to focus it on a certain tone to highlight this particular billionaire that people were talking about. There was more to it, because this man was not just into all these dubious sex rituals and whatnot and stuff like that. I want to show that there was actually a God attached to it. And his spirit worship, as you might actually call it, being it, remember, people that sell themselves to the devil, they tend to worship success. And this man then was no different in this light. And that's what we're going to talk about. It's the Rick Reality Show, the daily Christian commentary videos. If it's your first time over here, do be sure to check out some other videos that are down in the pinned comments, and I'm going to check you out over there. And so that's the topic. That's what we're going to talk about on this particular episode. I will have to come back to this topic and make it a second episode so that we can delve into the aspect of this subject with relationships. On this video, I want to deal with him. So being it that this man's island, okay, he bought this island, huge, and it's been sold, I think, for about 120 million or something like that. It's a very weird place. If you buy that, you're a weirdo. If you buy that, you're a weirdo, based on the things that have been happening over there and the things that happened or that he did while he was over there. So as I stated, that the intention for this video, I want to phrase it around the spirit worship, the things that he was involved in, that kind of allowed him to continue on with his abuses. If you know the story of Jeffrey Epstein, you'll know Mandem was a chef, and somehow he got into venture capitalism and stuff like that, and he became extremely wealthy from doing that. Okay, from a lot of connections that he had, and financial markets information that he might have had, and so that kind of benefited him. It made him a billionaire, but a very irresponsible one at that. Now, I want to tackle this with this tone. Remember, this is the temple as we've seen it right now. Okay? Or at least as it was when he was here. You will see that on the side, okay, on your left side, there are some lines on the ground, almost depicting or giving a sign of a snake. They are very rotated. That's how the people in the Middle East used to draw snake serpents. So it's rotating. It's kind of like in a rotating format. And then also the lines that are thingy. I want to highlight what they mean so that you have an early understanding right now. Those lines that you see from the entrance or from the window, they symbolize the sun. So those are sun rays. Okay? So those are sun rays that you are actually seeing over there. By the way, while we are at it, do give the video a like. It will help it out in the algorithm. And also, don't forget to check us here. Content will be going out over there. Facebook people, how are you doing? We also love you there. You know, Facebook people, you need to give them their own singular greeting. And so these lines, they all had meanings. But also notice that at the top of his building, he had a dome, the same way you would see the Arabs have on their temples or their mosque. He had a dome. maybe because of the history aspect of it. But if to understand this history aspect, we'll have to go back into that shot again. Okay, so later on, people started to find out, where did he get his inspirations? Where did he get the inspirations for how he built these things? And you can see right here that the inspirations are from these buildings that are in the in Aleppo. I think that's what they call it. The buildings, you can see by the entryway there, you can see those sun rays and the dome thingy. So symbolizing that aspect of worship that he's into, that idea of spirit worship. And if you actually listen to Portia Mohau, you will note that she has spoken about some things of spirit worship along the lines of Islam or Middle Eastern spirit worship. She's talked about that. And so no surprises that there is something of this nature, worship alongside this. But what building is this? Okay, these are mostly massage buildings, and that's how Epstein kind of caught his inspiration to lure women into his house and stuff like that, pay them money in the guise of massage. But then he would ask for, you understand, extensions and sweets. You don't just get sweets. You wanted cold drink as well. So Mandem, plenty weird. Okay, Mandem was plenty weird. He was all over the place. So these are massage buildings and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, if you actually look them up, this is how it looks in its full thing. Now remember, we are focusing on the idea of spirit worship and the things that he used to venerate in his life that actually led him towards that, or made him be strongly a believer in that. Okay, so these were those buildings. What are these buildings called? This is the word in its full scale. It's called Hammam Yal, but you can see the word there. Hey, I'm not gonna twist my tongue in trying to pronounce, but you will notice something, that these buildings were built around the 1400s, 1491. It does mention there the citadel, the entrance of the citadel of Aleppo. We'll come back to these things. These things are very important for us to see what kind of worship this man was into. It's some Middle Eastern stuff, but you will notice in the first line there, it puts Mamlek. And so if you actually go into this whole thing of Mamlek that is actually put forward here, you will find that this particular thing, it's actually in reference to slavery. Okay, article of class of slavery soldiers. So basically, some soldiers that were kidnapped in order to be used in soldiers' work. The same thing kind of like you would have with child soldiers and so forth. They had something of a nature. Now remember, the person we are talking about is a pig. You understand? We can't say those words. YouTube very sensitive. So he was and thinking about that, he had enslaved people in this dome of his, where he would harass, use his power and influence in order to go about his worship of sex and sexuality. By the way, that's a form of worship, sex and sexuality. That's why certain movements have a pride movement of sexuality. It's not about just a topic. There is a worship aspect that comes to it. But anyways, subject of a different day. So notice that a class of soldiers. This was some emperors in the medieval period who actually enslaved people and things. Now, you can go into doing more research into that, but I want you to remember. Okay, so please remember how that temple looked in the back then. This is how the temple looked before, right? But then when you kind of go to the images, the recent images, this is how that temple now looks. It's blank. They've colored them out. So the colors of those sun rays have been removed. Remember the serpents that were drawn on the ground before those stairs on your left side? They've also been wiped. They are no longer there. But you will see on the side where there's the fireplace there, you will see that there are stairs that don't quite align with the building. This kind of tells you there was intention in the way that it was built. Okay, so there's a fireplace there, and then you'll notice that there is like 4 palm trees right around the temple. Okay, and if you actually look into the overall of that building, you will notice that there was windows on almost all sides, or some form of entry into the inside. But there was one window where you will see the sun symbol actually starts from. The other ones, it just goes around it, but where it starts from, that one with the brown front there. Funny enough, that side of the thingy was actually directed. If you actually go to the images, unfortunately, I don't have the image right here. I am very much limited in how much. I'm going to show you the pictures. I'll come back to that. Just remember that the side where that thing it's actually facing, he had a sundial. So it was very intentional. That's the thing that I'm trying to point out here. That it was intentional how they made this thing. And funny enough, when you actually go to the direction of where that sun rays is starting on the window, this was the creature that you found on that side. A demonic figure with a ring on its nose, seated, some very demonic with horns and everything. Yeah, Mandem was not hiding. He wasn't out there hiding. But if you are trying if you think, okay, maybe Ricky, this statue, maybe Ricky is just over exaggerating, Ricky has a tendency. If you're out there thinking that Ricky has a tendency of just making up these particular meanings and so forth, I want to show you a second set of pictures, okay? And in this second set of pictures, this will make you think twice, okay? So 9, 10, 11, let me highlight my pictures here. All right, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm going to show you that there was intention with what he highlighted, okay? So remember, this is the first image that you saw, where you have this demonic figure there, clearly diabolic. One of the items that come from that house or from that temple was this chair. And you will notice the chair has goat-like feet. And you'll remember, if you've seen the Baphomet creature, those are the kind of legs that the Baphomet has. It's these goat-like feet. And you can see by the make of it, it aligns itself along that. Okay, Ricky, maybe this was just by. Okay, let's go back to those pictures. So this was on the way. On the way, when you were going to that temple, you used to find, that's the area where there's the sundial there, where you see that white floor there with an arrow pointing to the ground. That's where you had that creature that I showed you. Okay, that's where you had this particular creature here, near that sundial right there. And so this was crafted it was built a certain way. But let's keep it moving. When you get up there, there was this thing in his house or in his island where you'll find stairs. Like you see this set of stairs here. You'll think they're going somewhere. That's it. So you see they are headed upwards. Once you get to the top, the stairs don't go anywhere. The stairs, once you get over the top, they don't go anywhere. You see, they just lead to the statue here. The stairs, literally, if you go back, they don't go anywhere. The stairs literally are just leading to the statue. What statue is this? I asked myself. I was kind of like looking at it, looking into its details. I kind of found the statue. You can see by the round circles around its ears, over its head, on its head. I found the statue. They're like a 1,000-pound statue there. They are called the Dewi Tari. It's a Hinduism thing. It's the mother of, what do they call it? Mother of beauty and what? Some along those lines. Okay? Some along those lines. But it has sexual origins. So when I found videos that were aligned with it, you can see here when they were raising the chakra of this woman as she was sitting there in reverence to this deity. Remember, sexual ritual thing. So now this is one of the statues that you find at his island. Has this is how they set their worship. That woman, I had to blur it out because the woman who is raising the chakra out of this woman was directly holding her private. So I was just like, we ain't doing that here. What platform do you think this is? And so this shows you this. And I think it also goes with a lot of people that don't understand. A lot of ritual practice has sex symbolism to it. Or it has, like for instance, a lot of the Bohemian Grove, for example. The Bohemian Grove, it's a secret organization that a lot of people had been exposed to being a part of, Abu Bush and so forth. And they were asked about it. He was part of Skull and Bone. They were asked about it. What is your membership all about over there? He says, no, you know what? It's so secret we can't talk about it. What's been found about the Bohemian Grove is that in their ritual format, they don't dress. They wear cloaks and just stand naked. And so when you see things like this, they have a meaning because it aligns itself with the God that they worship. Now remember, that's the God. That's how they worship this particular God who has stairs that lead to nowhere, but unto this being. Remember, we saw that demonic being, that demonic creature that I showed you a little bit earlier on. And then now you have this here where you have stairs that lead to nothing or that lead only to this thing. Now, when I did actually go further after finding the name of it and whatnot, how they worship it and all that, the God of beauty and stuff like that, I found something quite interesting. And I want to show you that. I'm going to load up a set of images here. I think 19. Okay, I'm going to load up a set of images here. Okay, 19, 20, 21, 22. And this will kind of show you what is going on here. The image that I want to show you here is the meaning. So remember, there is that goddess and stuff like that I pointed out. Okay, so it's the goddess of compassion. Okay, attributes of loving kindness, long life, healing, and sincerity, and known as a female what. Ooh, that word. In the what Buddhism, whatnot, she is the mother of liberation. Remember that. Okay? Earlier on, you saw the temple which he built there. Okay? That temple which he built was on the guise. Think about it. It was on the guise of slavery. People being enslaved and being brought to service. Okay? And then now you have him having a goddess, stairs that lead towards the goddess of compassion and liberty, mother of liberty. What's going on here? Is balance. That's how you balance energies. Okay, in occultism and all these things, all these practices of energies and all this stuff, what ends up happening is that there has to be a balance, which is the same thing that you see Abongoma doing. They will invoke a spirit to go and kill and then invoke a spirit to block revenge. It's balance. They're trying to find balance. That's not how God has designed humanity to function. But that's how they do. That's how they function over there. And so right here, what are you seeing? You are seeing dualism. I think that's what they call it, the yin and the yang, right? It's dualism. So you have him present the aspect of a God who is for bondage and slavery, but then have the mother of liberation. It's for balance. This shows you that the things that this man then was involved in were intentional. He knew what he was doing. Don't get it twisted. This man knew what he was doing when he was involved in whatever worship or false worship that he was into. Now, another thing that I found quite interesting is that when you go from that temple, there was an area where they found this particular creature here. On that island, the same island, they found this creature, and I did hear people saying that it's Ankh. I think that's the name of the creature. It's a statue of Ankh. So you see that there's a lot of statues out on this man's island. They all have meanings and so forth. This particular one, it's a Babylonian. It's a Babylonian statue. This is a Babylonian statue. And this particular statue, Ankh, I think that's his name. I might have forgotten how to say it. Was actually, it's in Satanism or in practices where they do dualism. They see this particular creature as a representation of Satan, the serpent. As a matter of fact, this Ankh is a Babylonian god, which is recognized as Satan within this particular thing. And so it's quite important. It's quite important to note that not only do you have him do dualism with balance and all that, but here you can see he was also delving into beings that were directly associated with Satan. I thought that was quite an interesting one to see that the people are actually out there thinking and talking about. And so, can you stop those kids from, hello? Just open it. Hey. Yeah, go. These kids keep coming back here. So, anyways, and so this man was intentional in his worship. He was intentional in his presentations. He was intentional. This creature and being here, if you follow those particular stars and the moon, you will notice that there is a star and a moon on his thing. That's exactly how most of the either Egyptian or Babylonian gods were actually recognized. He didn't miss. He knew exactly what he was involved in. A lot of people would only associate these things to, it's just, we're just making a big deal out of. No, these people know exactly what they're involved in. They know what they are doing. If you look at the documentaries and the videos that people publish, people that try to go to this particular island, you will notice a pattern. Okay, like if you're a person who follows subject matters of spirituality and stuff like that, you will just see that there was intention. And by the way, that particular temple that they spoke about, they said it was built, as a matter of fact, on the highest point of the island. Is it a mistake? Remember, the Bible does talk about beings or spirits worshipped at the heights. And that's exactly what Epstein was doing. He was worshiping at the heights. He was worshiping his God in sexuality or dealing with sexuality at his temple. So there was meaning to it all. Like when you look at how he set up things, there was a lot more than what I'm talking about here. But on this particular episode, I wanted to focus it mainly on the subject matter that everybody's talking about. Thingy, it's a sex temple, what. He was doing fine, strange rituals and whatever. They're just talking about that. But what does that actually look like? That's what I wanted us to deal with here. That's why I'm highlighting the one which he sees, one particular side of his version of God that he sees in liberty. But then you will have a being that is literally a translation of Satan in his worship. He will create an environment in which not only does it show he was in thingy, there are beings or statues of Babylonian gods that are actually directly linked to the serpent or to the devil, as we might actually know him. These people are intentional. And remember, people that are intentional about thingy, you will see that they celebrate success because it's their God. That is the God that they worship. Remember the offer that Satan gave them. If you worship me, I would give you all these things. And they have bowed. Most of them have bowed. And with Epstein, it's no different. The statues on his island say it all. The way he decorated things, right at the back of it, you have a demonic being. And then you have a sundial that directly points at it. So He might have been doing sexual ritual based on certain times, and on the basis, I didn't take a screenshot of the sundial and stuff like that. I thought it was not necessary. I thought it was quite an interesting one, how they laid out that place. I thought that was interesting that there were stairs on his temple that go up, that don't go anywhere. Yeah, no, it's not left or right. It doesn't go anywhere. That's where he is. People that worship success, people that watch, I'm talking about worship, people that their entire lives surround subject matters of success. Be very careful. That's why you have pastors and so-called prophets. All they know, it's success. All they talk about, it's success. Why? Because this is the area. This is the one area that a lot of people are very dim-minded. And that's what you see here. Man them worshipped success. And you can see the gods that he believed, the gods that he had in veneration. It's no surprise that the man them was as weird as he was. Strict Reality Show, we do daily Christian commentary videos. If it's the first time over here to be sure, check out the other videos that are down in the pinned comments. I'll come back to this video, maybe talking about relationships that you see alongside him. Particularly on this video, I wanted to show man them had some form of a god that he was up to or that he was worshipping. It's pretty scary.